Greetings, traveler. Welcome to Sigil Magic 101. I know a lot of you watch my channel for my uncanny psychic tarot predictions, but I also have a great interest in teaching you magic so that you can do it yourself. And this is a great place to start. Sigils are very easy to make. You can make one in just a few minutes. You can activate it so that it will magically enshroud your life. Is that a word? Enshroud? In just a few minutes. And they're very powerful, so they're a great place to start. This is the video to begin with. But before we get into how to make them and how to use them, what exactly are sigils? Have you ever wondered why virtually every corporation and organization on planet Earth in existence has a symbol or a logo associated with it? Sometimes it includes language, but very often it does not. It is its own language unto itself. And here's the Red Cross. I'm not going to show any modern corporate symbols because they get enough airplay as it is. Here's a symbol that's no longer in existence from an old corporation. You get the idea. You've seen them. They're everywhere. You know what they are. The word logo comes into English from Greek, the word logos. And it's usually translated in English as word, as in the Bible. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was at God, and God was the Word. But I think by calling it word, we're kind of doing it an injustice because it kind of hides the fact that the Logos is a dynamic, creative place that anyone can dip into and tap into and create their own vocabulary. Why would you want to create your own words, your own vocabulary? Because words create worlds. The greater your prestidigitation with words, your ability to make them copulate with one another, will allow you to work greater magic and enter new realities. And you don't need a cauldron or a black cat to do magic. The reason we call the act of magic a spell is because back in the day, when people were illiterate, to read and write was magic. You could create things from your mind and send them into the world, and to not have that ability, it just seemed magical. Now that most people have some level of literacy, you might think, oh, well, there's no more magic. But in fact, it is everywhere now. The only reason we can't see it a lot of the times is because, like the fish in the water, you can't see the water that's everywhere. The reason these companies are constantly piping their imagery into your head, be it logos, flags, whatever, is because they want you to have their vocabulary, to be using their products, their software, their content sites, because then you will be living in their world and their vision of the world. Due to a lack of imagination and the constraints of the past, a lot of the world today sucks. Your job as a magician is to tap into the source of all being and to manifest something into our shared reality that will allow you to bypass the coercive circuitry of the hallucinosphere. To do this, we're going to use a sigil or personal logo that you make, you design, and you choose the intent of. By doing this, new paths will open up to you that would have been invisible or impossible before, aka magic. Now, before we go on, I need to say, some people, they will try to make a sigil, they will try to charge it, and they'll say, it didn't work. I didn't get what I wanted. So sigils, they don't work. Now, I'm going to very strongly disagree. Sigils always work. They always work. The problem is that people don't realize that sigils create paths, and to create a path and to walk a path are two different things. So when you create that path, you need to be willing to walk it. And if you're not, you're kind of wasting your time by making that sigil and not using it. A lot of people go into magic expecting it to hand them things and not change themselves. But I think you're kind of missing the point. Magic is change, and a lot of that change comes from you changing and then the world around you reflecting that change, as within, so without. The sigil that we're going to make is going to open a path, but be serious about it and be willing to take the opportunity when it arises. There's a Chinese proverb, the gods cannot help those who do not seize opportunities. Now, the path that you create with your sigil, it can take a variety of forms. It can be a very clear opportunity, but it can also be more subtle. It can be a person that you've never met before. It can be an idea from within your own head. It can be a resource that you discover that you never would have thought of before. Whatever form it takes, and there are many forms, it's not for you to really judge that form. It's to keep your eyes peeled and look for that opportunity. The universe will decide the form it takes. Now, continuing the idea that magic is about transformation, when you're tempted to look for something that you want to ask for, a lot of people will ask for something very specific, like, oh, I want a winning lottery ticket, or I want this job, or this person. This specific scenario has to happen. And I think the universe is more clever than anything we can dream of. So I think we need to be a little more open about what we ask for. My experience of the universe is that there is one mind connecting all of us, and that it really does want us all to succeed. But keep in mind this list that Gandhi made of 7 social sins. Wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, science without humanity, religion without sacrifice, politics without principle. Whatever it is you're asking for, be open to a larger vision than something specific. So rather than asking for a lottery ticket that will just magically make you rich, you need to think about what will allow others to benefit as well. Because I find that the less I'm in the equation for my sigil, the more successful they are. I'm not saying you can't ask for money, but if you're just asking for a number in your bank account or a number of subscribers on whatever you're doing online, numbers aren't really experiences, and they aren't very satisfying in terms of helping others. I'm not saying you can't do that, but you need to think about what will make others benefit as well. When you can create a sigil that allows that, then it's much more likely to come into being, because it's like a vortex that is ultimately drawing all of us together. And anything that goes against that is going to be like trying to swim out of that vortex. So let me give you an example. Rather than saying, I want this specific job as a doctor at this hospital and so on, say something like, I want a job that will allow me to help people and to enrich their lives and live healthier lives. Then create a sigil from that and allow the universe to guide you in that direction. If you're doing something with romance and you're trying to get a specific partner, ask yourself, am I really trying to help that person, or am I just trying to gain my own power? If what you're trying to do is going to benefit others, it will be much easier than trying to just create a higher power hierarchy for you. If internally you know that getting your wish will allow you to be more effective in helping others, it will gravitate to you. Whereas if you're just trying to create more power for yourself, you're trying to swim out of that vortex. So choose a wish that isn't about controlling or coercing others, but helping them. Just watch, I'm going to make them my wife. Sorry, Gaston. Now I'm going to give you an example with the wish that I'm using right now, and what I'm suggesting you do is pick something that's at the edge of your comfort zone. It's great to dream big, but it's also good to remember that magic is an art that you get better at the more you do. So start at something that's not too easy, but not too super grandiose either. Something maybe at the edge of your comfort zone and possibilities. For me, I used to work in schools and teach and do workshops and things like that, but because of coronavirus, I haven't done that in several years. In fact, the last time I was scheduled to do that, I was going to teach a meditation workshop, and it was scheduled for April of 2020, and it got canceled for reasons beyond my control. Can you guess why? So since coronavirus, yeah, I've essentially just done online teaching. You can contact me for coaching, tarot reading, spells, whatever you need help with, but I really miss doing in-person workshops, so I think that's what I'm going to be asking for with my sigil. So with your wish, ask yourself, does it excite you? Is it something you really want? If not, pick a different wish, because it should excite you. With my wish, yes, I would love to be in front of a live audience again. That'd be cool. And is it at the edge of your comfort zone? Like, is it something maybe you've never done, or is it something maybe you haven't done in a long time? With me, I have done live presentations many times, but it's been a while, so it's a little at the edge of my comfort zone. So the way that I'm writing out my intention is, I want to successfully teach an in-person workshop in 2022. So some things about this. One, you want to quantify things and be specific. And I'm saying the year because I want to have some kind of frame of limit of when this has to happen. But the part that maybe kind of you may want to be more specific about, I just say successful. What does that mean? So I need to know within me what that means. And some people will want to put this in the intention itself. I find that I don't need to, as long as I'm clear in my head what successful means. So for me, successful means helping others to do something that they really enjoy, breaking even at least. I don't care if I make money or not. Like, I just want to at least break even. So if I have to rent a conference room, for example, I just want to make sure I recoup my initial cost. That would be successful to me. Reaching others, learning by being in front of an audience again, and helping others. Those are the 3 criteria for success that I have. And again, ask yourself for your wish, is it win-win? It shouldn't be just about helping others. You want to win too, but you just don't want to have yourself being the only one winning. Think win-win. And be sure it's something that genuinely excites you and will change you and the world in a positive way. I also suggest you avoid just a number, for example, money in the bank. Think instead of in terms of what money will help you do. If you want to have a nicer home that will allow you to help others a lot more by having a nice place to stay, that's fine. But just don't think of a number. It lacks sensory experience. Once we've written it down and we're specific about what we want and we're clear, let's take out all the vowels. So just cross out all the A, E, I, O, U, and Y too. Why not? We're just left with consonants, and then we're going to cross out all of the consonants that repeat. So we just have one of each consonant, and we'll have these letters. Now from these letters, this is what we're going to make our sigil from. And how we make the sigil, this is where it becomes an art form. There's no wrong way to do it. Let's just make sure that we include all the letters and that we make it some kind of form that we think looks cool. So whatever that means to you, I'm going to show you my process here. Now, once you've included all the letters, what a lot of people will do is they'll simplify the sigil until it's not all liney and weird looking, but looks more just almost like a letter or an actual symbol. And you might end up with something like this. And this is one possibility, but what I like to do, and you're welcome to do either way, is actually use colored pencils and make it look just more elaborate and weird, because you can just leave it as like this, but I like to run it through an image app and come up with a lot of different results that look very different. And not like traditional sigils, but I think that's one of the great things about sigils, is that it's an art, so you can do whatever you want with them. So now you have your sigil, it's time to activate it. And to do that, there are 2 main paths, what I call fast charging and slow charging. Fast charging you're probably going to do right now because you can do it really fast, as it implies. And what it means is you want to expose your mind to the sigil with as little of your ego involved as possible. And you can do this in multiple ways. And the great thing about charging a sigil, there's no right or wrong way. This is an art, remember, so play with it and do what you want. But essentially, I'm going to give you some ideas. And to get it into your mind without experiencing your ego, you can do something like going into a trance or meditation. But what a lot of people do is they experience the sigil during the moment of orgasm. And what this allows it to do is to bypass you and just imprint itself on your mind. If you don't want to do that, there's other ways. You can experience it while taking strong drugs, while dancing wildly. There's no wrong way. So that's fast charging. At the other end of the spectrum is what you see more commonly with these corporations and so on is slow charging, which is they regularly expose your mind to their sigils, and you can do the same with your sigil. So what I suggest you do is just put it in a place that you'll encounter it a lot. It can be, your desktop background on your computer. It could be your background on your phone. It can be, you can tape it on your wall or in your car, wherever you're going to see it a lot. Some people decide not just to expose their mind to it, but to expose other minds to it. And you can do this by, vandalizing a bank or putting it on a t-shirt or whatever. You can even make it part of if you have a company, part of your brand. Although you probably don't want to do that if it's just something that you're not going to want in 10 years. Now, you don't have to be limited to one or the other. You can also do fast charging and slow charging. It's up to you. Again, there's no wrong way to do it. But either way will work. I've found both effective. Once you've charged it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can flush it down the toilet, burn it, leave it in a place for someone to find it, what have you. Once you've charged your sigil, you may think your work is done, but really it's just beginning, because now is when you need to hone your attention to keep an eye out for the new path. If you want to get the most out of this, keep a journal and every day write down what you see as out of the ordinary for your life. Things that will just be new encounters, new invitations, new opportunities, new people, whatever, that just seems a little off the regular normal day-to-day life. Often it won't show up as your wish clearly labeled as this is your opportunity. So this is why you need to keep your attention honed. Remember, it is a path, not the outcome itself. Occasionally it will show up as the outcome itself, but very, very often it will show up as, like I said, a path that will lead you there. So it may not even look like your stated outcome. Your job is to train yourself to respond differently when your path does show up, to break out of your usual patterns, to try something new, go somewhere new, say yes when you would normally say no, expand beyond your comfort zone. The comfort zone is the enemy of good magic. Your habits will keep you from the change that you supposedly want. So as I said at the beginning of this, don't make and charge a sigil if you're not going to follow the thread and do the work. If you do that, you will be telling yourself that you're not really serious about it, and you'll probably just beat yourself up about not seizing the opportunity when it did come. I did this when I first tried sigils, and if you do realize after the fact that your sigil had worked and you didn't act on it, it's okay. Keep a diary of your attempts and be more vigilant next time. But if you're just going to dabble with it, don't even bother. You'll be locking yourself more tightly into old patterns and diluting your magical will. If you make a sigil and you're serious about it, let me know how it went in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. This was just my short introduction to magic and sigils, but I have many more videos planned about magic in the future, so be sure you're subscribed. In the meantime, if you need help with sigils, magic, spells, tarot readings, general life coaching, whatever, I advise people on all things from the most mundane to the most cosmic, so feel free to contact me right here. This magic stuff is as serious as you want it to be, and it works based on your intention going in. So keep that in mind, and I hope to see you in future videos.